Okay, so this tutorial is about home practice and how to get the best out of practicing at home. You've come to lessons, you've learned a few chords, you know how to strum, you've got a little bit of confidence, and now it's really time to hone your skills. And at home is in between classes is the time to do that. So anyone who's just going to come to a guitar class once a week for 45 minutes or an hour, and that's all you do, you're really not going to advance. So this tutorial is to show you how to advance with what you've learned in class and how to keep that going, because it's incredibly important. So I use something called the 5-finger method. So number one is to tune your guitar. The second is to stretch and warm up your fingers. Then practice something difficult. Maybe you've learned some new chords in class, a combination of chords that you find difficult. You may have learned finger picking, there's any number of things that might be difficult for you. So practice that first after you've tuned and warmed up. Then practice something you know quite well. That's number 4. Practice something you know quite well, just to give you a bit of confidence and, something that's fun, something that's easy, light, not so frustrating. And then the last one is be creative. So think of maybe something that a new chord or combinations of notes to play as chords that sound nice, and maybe go online and look at some new chords that you haven't done before. Try and make up a song, anything. Music is a lot about patterns and repeating patterns, so make up some things. So that's number 5. So to tune, you just clip that onto the end of your guitar, turn it on. You need to know the names of your strings: Eddie, 8, Dynamite, Good, by Eddie. Then with your tuner, electronic tuner, once you play each string, you have to get, on this particular model, there's a green line that shows when you hit, you're on the mark. And here are your tuners. So moving up, moving down. So there's probably a whole lot of more I can talk about with tuning, but that's a very, very basic and general outline. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is stretching and warming up. So just like a singer has to warm up their voice before they sing a song, and they do scales and they do these kinds of things to warm up their voices, we need to warm up as well as guitarists. So I usually start by just giving my fingers a shake, trying to get the blood into the fingers. So you just need to massage, especially if your fingers are cold, and now we're coming into the warmer at the cooler months. So I would just massage fingers all the way to the tips, massage in there, and massage around your thumb area, just to make sure that the blood is circulating through your fingers. They'll help them to move more quickly. So you can do some warm-ups in that way. You can, now another thing you can do to stretch your fingers is to push your thumb back, but just be very gentle. It's not, you don't want to hurt yourself. And when you're doing it, just scrunch these fingers here, because it will help with there's a tendons running all the way up your arm. So with your index finger, and you'll feel the stretch as you're stretching those fingers. And as you're scrunching the others, you'll feel it. And you'll feel that the relationship between all the different fingers as well. It's very hard to, anyway, so you just do a few stretches that way. You can stretch them out in between. Stretch them out that way. Always shake your fingers. I'll just show you on one hand, but do them on both fingers, particularly your left, as this is the one the left is the one that needs to stretch the most, but your finger picking hand needs to be warmed up as well, or your strumming hand. So now we come to the actual warm-ups on your guitar to warm up your fingers. So what I'm going to do is just show you first. So just remembering what we've said before, good technique won't tire your fingers and will help you to get the best sound. So place your first finger in your first fret, just behind the fretboard. Just behind the first fret. These are your frets and these are your strings. So just behind, it's going to give you the best sound, or you don't have to press as hard, so therefore you'll get a better sound. Notice the difference between how much harder you have to press. If you press your finger down there to get a good sound, you don't have to press as hard, just behind the fretboard. So as you're placing your fingers on the fretboard, just press them just behind the fret, and then use first finger, first fret, second finger, second fret, third finger, third fret, fourth finger or pinky in the fifth fret, and come back down again. So let's just practice that without any picking. First fret, second fret, third fret, fourth fret, third fret, second fret, first fret. All right, now you can add a pick, so you're just doing a downward motion. First fret, second fret, third fret, fourth fret, third fret, second fret, first fret. And you can add an open at the end. And then you just go through every single string. Going fast so I can show you. And so on, all the way up to the sixth string. Okay, so once you've mastered that, doing the down pick, you can then add just a little bit harder. It can be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up on the open. And then as you go through, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And the idea is that you get faster and faster as you go along, but always, most importantly, is accuracy before speed. So get it accurate so it's a nice clear sound, and once your tone is good, then increase your speed so that it's something called dexterity that you will develop. And okay, so now you're up to practicing something difficult. Maybe chords are something you find difficult doing, your chord changes. So I'm just going to run through a few things with chords. Firstly, again, making sure that they're just behind the fret, if possible. That's going to give you the best sound, and you don't have to press so hard. Now, the easiest thing, I think, if you're practicing chords, don't ever practice them, don't ever isolate them on their own. So do, say, 3 chords at a time. So maybe a good example is going from D to G to A, for example. Now, the thing to do here is to think about the relationship between the two of them. Okay, so there's my D, but what do I have to do to get to G? Okay, I drop this finger down 1, and then I'm going to place these 2 on fingers 5 and 6 in the 2nd and 3rd frets. And then what do I do next? I drop my first finger down 1, slide it over, and then I add the 3 underneath. Okay, so how do I get from A to D? I do the same thing. I drop that down 1, add the bottom string, and then add the 2nd string in the 3rd fret. And over again I go. To G, drop that down, A, drop it down again. Often for me, the anchor, or the first one I'm going to go to, is my first finger. If I was going from D to B minor, so So if I'm going to use the easy version of B minor, I drop that down there and add. Another thing you can do, I think they call it muscle memory, is you can just take your fingers off, but make sure when you take them off, you're not taking them completely away. We're just lifting them up and placing them back down. Chords are all about shapes. So you visualize the shape of D in your mind. You visualize the shape of E minor. Visualize a C. And think about the relationship between the chords. How do I go from C to A minor? It's an easy one. You take your third finger off and add it underneath your second finger. And these two fingers, the first and second fingers, stay where they were. So going from C to A minor is a very easy chord change. So instead of going from C, taking all your fingers off and finding those two fingers again. If anything is common and needs to stay there, well, then only one finger needs to change. Another good change from here is to D7. So D7, this first finger stays the same. Second one goes down one, and the third one goes to the bottom string. Then if you were to play G, you're sliding this one across here. So practice your chords, say the D, the G, the A, the D, for example, or C, A minor, D7, and G. Because there's relationships between each of those chords. So here's a reminder of the sheet that was given out in class. It's your home practice log. So every day that you practice, just record the minutes that you practice. Where it says there teachers practice suggestions, that's just the suggestions I'll give you each week in class. But do remember to do the 5-finger method. So tune, warm up and stretch, something difficult, something easy, be creative. And the person with the most amount of minutes recorded in their home practice log will get a weekly prize. And then there will be one prize at the end of the term for those who have practiced. The minimum time to practice is 10 minutes, and the maximum I would recommend would be 20 to 30 minutes per day. It's enough. If you practice up to 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day, that will be more than enough for you if you're practicing every day. A little bit every day is better than the whole lot once a week. So happy practicing. Let me know if you have any questions or make comments or on this YouTube video so I can see how you're going, and great work. Keep up the great work. Bye.